Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Asma. For the people who don't know me, I am an international medical graduate and I am a pediatric doctor by background. So I have made a few videos regarding how to do specialty training and a few tips about NHS. Today the topic of my video is what to expect in your first NHS job, what a typical day is like, and how you can prepare yourself to cope with this situation in a better way. It might feel, of course it feels very fascinating once you get your first NHS job, and all the process of moving here. It has a lot of it's a full package, and you just feel so much bound in it. But when it comes to practical ground, I just want to highlight a few things what an NHS expects from a doctor, either as a junior grade or a middle grade, and then how it can differ from your practices. So just knowing these facts can make you prepare better, and then I can explain what a typical day of a middle grade or a junior doctor would be like, and then will give you a few tips how you can improve this experience by preparing yourself. Right, so NHS practices in a very different way. It would be very surprising for most of you to think that all the manual work is done by doctors. So like IV cannula, blood sampling, labeling, ordering, sending them off, calling porters, chasing the results, communicating this effectively before the procedure, during the procedure, and after when the results come. It all comes down to the junior doctors. It might be really different because most of the other countries, they depend heavily on the nurses to do these jobs, whereas in the NHS it's like strictly, or it's just taken for granted that this has to be done by doctors. And most of us who come from different background, initially they feel surprised, and then really it's a continuous struggle to get your confidence and competence and get to the level where you're really comfortable in doing everything, along with like it is a balance. Of course, we in our countries, we depend mostly on medical knowledge, and once we see the patient, we make the plans, and then we just it just happens in a way that the plans are executed and you review the results and everything. But here, right from scratch, everything is on your shoulders. So make this thing very clear, and how it works step by steps can make you understand how you can prepare. So as I said, all the procedures are down to doctors. Preparation, even getting the equipments ready, like cannula, tray, wipes, sprays, bottles, whatever is needed in that procedure. Even simple blood sampling can be tricky because there can be different needles used, different bottles used, different way of labeling, printing. Sometimes the printers get stuck and you are the one who has to sort it out. So that's one thing. Of course, medical knowledge wise, like communication, making discharge letters, doing admission clerking, making plans, that is part of our daily practice as well. But that comes along, but most of, I would say, energy and time consumption bits are your jobs and running around. Now coming to what do you expect in a typical NHS working day. So a day starts with a handover, and handover is like an endorsement or a morning meeting seminar where everybody sits, the night on call team sits, and they have printed the handover sheets which have the details of all the patient in the ward. So they would be like, if there are 15, 20, 30 patients, they will all be listed in that handover list. It's not only the new admissions. And then the registrar and the junior doctor from the night team, they will go through each and every patient in a specific manner, like just given what was the situation, what was the background, what is the present plan, and what are the recommendations. So given that, what were the symptoms, patient A came with XYZ symptoms, had is likely to have this diagnosis or provisional diagnosis, has this medical background, and now we have started them on these medications, self-ventilating in air, needing fluids or not needing IV fluids, and these antibiotics or these medications, and then what are the plans, what are the results which are there and what are outstanding, and what the day team needs to chase. So that would be a typical handover for one patient, and it will continue for most of the patient. Definitely the new admissions will take more time, but the rest of the patient consultants usually are aware of them, so they will be quick and brief. So that is how medically it happens. Now organization wise, this handover would have the night team and the morning consultants, the morning junior doctors, middle grade doctors, as well as a charge nurse, or we call here sister. Like sister is a higher band of the nursing, which usually they wear dark blue uniforms. So they would highlight just organizational issues like what is the bed capacity, what are urgent discharges, what can be the priority job for the doctors to do, what investigations if chased earlier, or MRI scans, whatever can give them space for next patients. So all of those bits they will also go through. So that is how it happens. And then next is, of course, the consultant will delegate that this XYZ patient is for you, and then you go prepare the notes, go through the results, whatever was given in the handover, and then conduct the ward round. At the end of the ward round, there would be a discussion of what jobs needs sorting out, and then among how many you are, you can delegate like XYZ that I will do, and somebody can do blood, somebody can do send off the investigation, somebody can do referrals, somebody can start on early discharge letters, so those kind of thing. Middle in the day, this can be a bit variable. There is a catch-up handover or a huddle just where everybody stands in the middle or somewhere in the ward, and then just relays what has happened and what is still outstanding. So just catch up of what after the ward rounds the changes have been made. After that, usually doctors take a quick break for their lunch and then come back to resume their job. Right, now I will give you tips. Knowing all this basic facts about the job in the NHS and a typical day, I would give you tips how you can prepare yourselves better to adopt better in this in the NHS setup. So one thing is for sure, that all the manual procedures are done by doctors. So get yourself hands-on on the patient procedures for cannulation and blood sampling, which is the most important bit. Also catheterization, but definitely blood sampling and cannulation would be like your bread and butter here. And second thing, moving on to further, is organize yourself, because it's not just to take the blood sample, it is your responsibility to label it, to mark it correctly and identify the patient, sending it off and then chasing it actively. So try to organize yourself in those grounds as well. Next is communication. I would say listen to English accents as much as you can. Make a habit of watching BBC News or podcasts or YouTube videos or anything which can help you just understand how they speak. It can be very variable accent, right from north till down here in south. So just by missing a few words in a sentence or catching the accents can really pose real challenges in your working. So first thing, of course, you would be given up. You are there to be proven your English language skills by English language exams. But apart from that, make it a habit to see more, to listen to more English accents. Then coming to communication. um, there is a lot of online resources available for GP communication, MRCP-CH, MRCP. So just read it like a storybook, like nothing like an exam, but just as a common life scenario. So how would you explain anything to any patient? How would you communicate with a colleague if there has been a misunderstanding? So communication is very, very important. We expect that the doctors are here to share knowledge and experience, but in the NHS everything is very, very calculated and frameworked. So all the trust and they follow their own policies, and then it comes to the deanery policies. It does not come to the individual doctor to make any plan. Most of the time it's just a routine that is executed over and over again. So rather than spending more time in reading medical knowledge, give yourself more time in reading about communication scenarios, because that would really determine your personality and will help you cruise through this time efficiently. Now coming to yes, again, communication. So 3 basic steps in communication. If you are given any task, listen to it actively and then read it back, that did you wanted to say XYZ, did you mean this, and then let them speak back. So complete that communication loop for each and every, even a very minor silly job, because it just helps them to understand what you have understood and helps you to plan your action accordingly. Any confusion, any very minor confusion can be very time consuming and energy consuming, and it will be just of no use. So give yourself time. If you've been given some task or some job, just read back to them that oh doctor, yes, did you mean full blood count by FBC, or do you want to include electrolytes, or do you want to include sodium, potassium, or do you want any other electrolyte? So just explain, because a few times like abbreviations are used so commonly here that you feel confused, and you think, oh, it's just electrolytes, and maybe they wanted renal functions as well. So speak to them, make every order very clear, and then listen back to them so they know what you have understood, and there is really a very crystal clear message. Another thing is, right, I might be suggesting a bit contradictory interest, but it's like really a reality. If you be friends with nurses, they will really help you a lot. So make every effort to keep them happy, even if you have to do extra job or pretend to be silly or have to run for things that you think is not your job. Make them happy so they make your life easy. That's really my experience. And when you are competent, then the flow of your actions and your management, it just helps them to ease their life as well. But if you're new and you're struggling and you don't know XYZ, they are the best resource. They can help you out in a lot of things, and on the other hand, they will assess you as well, and they will give you feedback about you, which can be very serious. So take nurses and the relationship with them very seriously. In summary, try to get yourself on your toes, improve your hands-on skills, and improve your communication, both active as well as passive. Work on it, listen and express. Be a more proactive person. Right, that was more of advice. And then what kind of support you will get in your NHS role. There is an assigned consultant to you who is called an education supervisor. So he is a named consultant who should be directly approachable to you, and you can communicate via email or messages or phone, and whatever you feel you can, you should feel free to go and speak to him. And in turn, he would be the like a representative of you as well, and anybody who has any comments for you or any suggestions for you will come to they will communicate to him. So it works both ways, that he can get your concerns and he can get others messages of others to be relayed to you. So mostly it doesn't happen in the NHS, doesn't happen on your face. It's very unlikely somebody will say stop or change or whatever directly to you. They would just let you probably do it or ask you to excuse or something, and then give a feedback to your consultant. So give yourself plenty of time to observe any procedure which would be done by yourself in near future. At least observe one or two definitely before performing them. Get the nursing assistants to help you to gather the equipments, to communicate with the patients, and also start feeling being a part of a team. Even with little help, it can improve the whole scenario rapidly. Also, I would like to highlight a very important point, because in NHS everyone is really stressed and stretched. Everyone is doing more than what they can physically or mentally do. So you need to regard that aspect as well. Although you might be thinking that the things are easier for them, but then they are more responsible as well. So the more active you get in getting all these learning bits initially, and more independent you get, sooner then your life can be sorted out really nicely, rather than just nagging and keeping behind and chasing others, because then you won't feel a part of a team, you won't feel your worth, and also you'll keep on questioning yourself, which doesn't help the team, it doesn't help you. Proactive approach, hands-on approach, excellent communication, and observe everything around you before performing anything new. Ask and relay it back to yourself to make everything very clear. And I hope this really helps, and bye.